Welcome to the Black Box App Podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth L. Johnson of East Coast Executives. Extremely excited today to have a gentleman who does a lot of stuff out here in the world, Mr. Neville Rankine. Listen, when did I pronounce your name right?
You did.
All right, I'm gonna stop this and start again. Welcome to the Black Box App Podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth L. Johnson. Really excited to be here today with a gentleman who wears many different hats, Mr. Neville Rankine. Now, let me just break it down here. I really got to look to take all of this in, right? Of course, you're talking about a gentleman who is a real estate investor, a licensed mortgage loan officer. He's a founder. He's a board advisor. I'm going to keep going. I can keep going, but I'm going to let him tell us a little more about himself as we speak in this conversation. Neville, welcome to the Black Box App Podcast, my friend.
Much appreciated, Ken. Much appreciated. It's awesome to be here. Love what you guys are doing. Love how we met. You know, the networking event actually it was the networking aspect of the blockchain conference event, which was amazing. So that's my apologies.
Yeah, that was
turn off one phone and another one rings, right?
So you're a busy guy. We know this. We know this already. We're going to get into some of that blockchain and metaverse stuff in the earth and later in the conversation. But just to start us out, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
So pretty simple. Blessed, very much so. Think that's just from high above. Born in Brooklyn, moved out to Long Island when I was 13. Got a chance to realize you could play football and tackle and it could be grass instead of concrete. That was awesome. Then, extended into high school where went into college, going into college, had art scholarships, sports scholarships, ended up taking a partial academic at Hofstra. Loved it there. Went from a computer science major to a business major with still that computer science and artistry in the background. So finance made sense, right?
I was sitting here thinking that. I'm like, okay, where the finance come from? But see,
yeah, I mean,
you've managed to really make that work, though.
Well, I mean, there's something that as you're getting, through your experience, you kind of learn if you choose to learn. Like I didn't fail; it's just this attempt didn't work. So you navigate how that works for you. And like I said, blessed. I've been lucky to even through those trials, get put in front of opportunities that allowed me to expand my perspective on what's real, what's available, and really what value is. Because like I said, coming from Brooklyn, like one bedroom apartment, vastly different perspective when you now are in a home with your own room, right? It's like completely different. When you go from a school where everyone looks like you see, the only off-colored one is the teacher, and to a place where now you're the off-colored one is the student, and you're like one of two within 7 zip codes, right? So
Crazy.
right. So knowing how to navigate that and learning how to navigate that, because this is where I guess we can dive into where we started to dive into. There's a lot of genius, there's a lot of brilliance that is many minds, but opportunities are only as available as they're experienced, right? So many times you have those that can be in that boardroom that can benefit all within that boardroom, but they never get access to that boardroom because they have several lower level managers that can't fathom the thought of having a thought, right? So they get pigeonholed to where they are, and then they end up within their own demographic only speaking to those that don't have the capacity not to understand what they're saying, but really activate on anything that they're processing, right? Where if they had that same conversation with someone that had a few million and a team to activate, they just made a few billion.
Wow.
In a thought.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? Let's stay here in that conversation, because I know you have a venture that you're part of called Launch Point Labs. And it seems like you take some of that mentality and share that with some younger aspiring professionals, and you're able to have some impact there. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Launch Point Labs is awesome because Launch Point Labs is Eric Smith. Give him credit. I met Eric through Travis King, and I'm a board advisor at Launch Point Labs because when prior to Launch Point Labs starting or putting out that official launch, Eric and Travis came in as mentors for Leaders Are Born, which has been doing this since 2012, 2010, bringing mentors in, connecting them with students, and showing them on real world projects how to get that hands-on experience so they get a better understanding of the programs or the majors that they're in, the fields that they're in, prior to actually going to real continuing education or more funding towards it, more loans towards it. If you don't want to be in, if you've never played in QuickBooks, you shouldn't wait till you've graduated with your accounting degree to then say, wait a minute, this is what I have to do. I'm not interested, right? You should get those opportunities earlier. And conversely, by providing the opportunities earlier, it now allows for a longer stint of a successful career
Yeah.
if someone can find that passion early. So I have a for-profit organization, nonprofit organizations. Launch Point takes it to the corporate level where now that offering of the students that can now engage, they're engaging with businesses to now get their business off the ground. Whereas Leaders Are Born is more focused on the individual mentor and the businesses coming in,
Okay.
Launch Point is focused on putting the group together to now work with that specific business to get that business from point A to point wherever it is that they're looking to go.
Yeah, I love the name. I think, to what you were speaking about, if we can extend the runway and extend the ramp, then we have a better chance of getting higher in our process, right? And it's like, if we can help people and assist them as they start to begin their career journeys, then it just might make the lifting a little lighter once they get there, because they'll come in with the skill set that will allow them to be hopefully successful in the careers that
that's really what it's about, and then I can caveat that into UEF, United E-League Federation, where esports is that conduit to get them to that passion, that passion career. They may come in as a gamer, they may come in as a graphic designer, they may come in as a videographer, as an audio engineer, as finance, as legal, as tournament organizer. Like, there's a number of different roles and opportunities that need to be filled just in a published event for an hour, a 15-minute event. Like, there's a lot that can be done. So when we show them that, hey, these are opportunities that are there, we have partnerships with pro gamers that went in to become developers, that went in to become lawyers, right? But they only knew that that was something they were interested in because they got a chance to get exposed to it, right? So it's the same thing with the equipment, like and why we use esports is that because from a production side, it gets the communities that don't necessarily have an opportunity to realize there are tons of jobs in media production that they may be phenomenal in, but outside of media production, just in industry in general. But in order to actually get that credit reel, for everywhere wants you to have experience before you have experience,
yeah.
right? So these programs in the schools allow the students on a very low level, but it's still a very grand one because we're using the job descriptions of the real jobs that are out there, right? And we're applying it now to these weekly and quarterly and monthly events that they're running in collaboration with real sponsors, real professionals, and other students. So at the end of these events, there's actual credit reels that these students have now to showcase, hey, yes, I can do this and I've done it with.
Got you.
In 90 days, they can show experience that could take someone else 3-4 years before they
Wow.
even get a chance to ask that question, let alone access to that spreadsheet.
And not only is it a resume builder, but a confidence builder, I'm sure, where you can actually see something that you've done. It's interesting when you speak
100%.
about taking an industry, say like gaming, but not just looking at it for what's front facing, but looking at a lot of the stuff that goes behind it. We had a gentleman named AJ Link on the podcast months ago, but he's an attorney, but he's a space attorney. So literally, he's doing work to support people's agendas in outer space, legal agendas. He's
No,
like, there's legal
no,
components to what's happening in outer
a
space.
lot,
Yeah.
a lot,
So I
a
never
lot.
thought about it. He's like, I just want to introduce Black and brown kids to opportunities in space. Like he's like, I don't care what you do. If you're an engineer, you can work on a shuttle, but
100%. So
so you
the
get it.
funny part about that is, yeah, because like our branding and promotion behind our metaverse is dot space. So you get to own your dot space. You get to build your dot space. You get to create your dot space. So yeah, I would love to connect with AJ because that'd be awesome.
Man, yeah, definitely. I'll make the introduction. So listen, I know we met at Jamil's function, Jamil Sheikh,
Yes.
and amazing person. Very, he says he doesn't like to be called an expert, but I'm going to call him a subject matter expert in the metaverse space.
all,
Uh,
all all masters say they're still learning, right?
yeah, he's
So
still learning. I get it. He's all over the world
I think
learning.
he's in Singapore. He think he's in Singapore
He's in
now.
Singapore now. Yeah, I follow his social. But listen, so tell me when you started paying attention to the metaverse of things, and then some of the things that you're doing in the space to bring other people in.
So I'm gonna date myself a little bit on this, but World, Second Life, like before Sims was Sims. That's how long it's been.
All
Like
right, you're
when gaming
talking too technical for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
so, so okay. So let's say in 2004, 2006, I brought a business plan to Baruch for a dating site with social networking
Okay.
capacity, and it would happen within the 3D world. We were using QR codes in Times Square with a few people, and like we were showing that they could buy clothes online in these 3D spaces, and it
Oh,
shows
04,
up at their house. Say it again.
2004.
2004.
Unbelievable.
2004, right? And we were like, yeah, this, and I'm going, and they're looking at me like, wait, I'm sorry, what's a QR code? I was like, okay. So I was like, no, you understand. The facial recognition software is gonna take it. They're like, wait. What's facial recognition? I was like, okay, all right, you know what? Time out.
Let,
Time out. So
let's start
been
from
in
the
this
beginning.
space. Right. So like been in this space because avid gamer, been a gamer from young. So and a lot of the games that I enjoyed playing are the ones that were most popular in Asia.
Okay.
So I would get exposed to what that culture and community from the gaming side and the technology side is available because I'm going to Jamaica Ave. I'm going to Tri County. Like I'm looking at like the anime and like, hey, this is with the game that's in Japanese and you can only play the Japanese, but if you learn to control, like, right. So you get a chance to see like where the future of the tech can go. So getting ahead of it and staying ahead of it has been kind of where that mission is. And to take it back but forward, that's where the education side of it comes in as
Okay.
well. And that's where it really started because I said, as this is building and I'm watching like the pieces, there's still pieces that there's so many things that are becoming automated. How they become automated is getting lost. And if that gets lost, if that automation never breaks, everybody's effed. So
Because nobody
it's like,
understands. Nobody
because
understands what happened before that, right?
right. So I started, sending things out and having the students and the internships where we were just going off of just basic things to operate on a day-to-day business. And they didn't know what hyperlinks were. They
Uh,
didn't know how to make they didn't know how to collaborate in spreadsheets. They didn't know, you can send automatic emails. Like they didn't know anything from these things. And they get all of these things that and platforms that they're working from Salesforce and but they have no idea where those cells in Salesforce come from. They
okay.
never saw the registration form,
Yeah.
right? How to build a registration form, how to make it dynamic. Like, and that's where I saw that focus because I realized that and this is where I think you will have a grander understanding of it. You have, and the analogy I use is, you have a lot of people that want to be the best player, right? Let me use sports as an analogy, right? You have fewer people that want to be the coach.
Yeah.
You have fewer people that want to be the owner. You have fewer people that want to own the league. You have fewer people that want the real estate the league ever goes on,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and all of those mindsets are everywhere, but they're not sure where to engage many times because they can say something outside of the level that they're talking about and it gets missed or lost. And then they either get discouraged or it goes into the wind because they don't realize, wait, I can move forward with that mindset. I just have to be connected with the opportunities that'll help me grow.
Wow. I love it. I love it. It's interesting, um, because I think that's a big piece of it. People seeing it, understanding it. A lot of times I get people to say, oh, you know what? I'm completely against automation. It's going to take jobs away from people. You should feel the same way because you're a recruiter. I'm a recruiter by trade, right? And I'm like, listen, you have to understand that there are jobs being created in getting that technology to us, right?
Right.
And so you're
Right.
looking at it completely one-sided. You're not looking at what's behind it. So I believe that's what you're saying. Like there's so much behind
100%.
the product,
There
right?
is, and that's exactly again why we use esports as that kind of conduit, because people seem to forget the NFL, the NBA, the UEF, like all of them. If you're watching it, if you're going there, if you're engaging and you're buying any kind of merchandise, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs surrounding that 15, 30-minute game,
Yes.
hour-long game.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So let's take it from this perspective. I want you to share because we get this a lot, right? We go out and we meet with teens and young adults and we ask specifically, what is it that you want to do? So, of course, we get the professional athlete, we get the rapper, but now we're getting people that want to be in the e-games, the gaming world, right? So, I want you to share some advice for people that are looking to break in. If you were entry level and you're trying to get into that space, what would be your advice? And we're going to go through this: entry, middle, and people trying to pivot as well. So entry level people, what should they be looking to do?
So there's two ways to go about it, right? And I make the relationship same way in real estate, right? And you know, the connection in real estate and gaming, is really, really close right now, especially like on top of each other because of what the metaverse is and what that VR space landscape looks like, right? But you have from the real estate side, if you're interested, you have the agent side where you're showing the home, selling the home, taking clients on tours, and you have the finance side where when they're ready to purchase the home or refinance it, you're providing the loan or the money for it, right? So you
Right.
have the bank and then the agent. There's two caveats within that same industry, right? On the gamer side of it, you have the player and then the support, and that support spans into the entire companies because it can be whoever and whatever from any department of any avenue that now helps build that player into a team, into a franchise, into a business.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
So if there's interest in, the only thing you can do is get experience in doing what you're doing. Immediate plug, go to uef.gg, like try it out, actually work in one of the gaming aspects or roles that you want to, and get some credit. Start building your credit there so people can see that you're good at what you do because they watched you do it. Like precision is something we're very, very adamant on. You can, if it's done properly, no one knows or saw you do a thing, right? So you can watch an event for that happened for 30 minutes, your name is in the credit reel. That event could have raised 16 million.
Sure.
you all you did was the lighting and then the graphics to get people to register,
Right.
or the form to get that done, but that was your administrative role that you did well. How great does that look on your credit reel when now your sponsors are and your supporters are Sega, Sony?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that's who you worked with, and you did that while you were in school. You've done that several semesters over now. If you're out of school, you've done that several seasons over. So we're giving people the opportunity, and that's what that esports gives more of an opportunity. Why we always say esports and beyond, because the career development isn't just in esports. The career development's for all of it. It's just, this is a great way to get in.
So while we're here, I got two more things before we transition out. So the pandemic has brought about this mindset that people really are taking serious their desire to pivot and change industries or careers. How would someone, let's say someone from any other industry, get on the radar of esports companies and organizations?
So part timing your something like time management is essential, right? Streamers are out there working the same 30, 40, 50 hours that people are getting their 9 to 5, overtime 30, 40, 50 hours, right? But they're transferring those hours into what's my ROI on those hours, right? If I stream for this many hours, how much sponsorship dollars did I get for those hours? How much content was created where I had um people, spectators that came that then now paid for that time that was there? What engagement was happening during that time that was there? Am I getting any earnings from what was sold at my event because everyone came to watch me and you were there selling your product, right? All of those things are very, very real. And what the metaverse and online and just the industry in whole as a whole does for anyone looking to pivot into it, it gives you real estate in a virtual sense that is valued. And if you are in a space where traffic is and you have something of value, there's going to be engagement, there's going to be in transactions, right? So that's where the real benefit is, and that those engagements and transactions don't necessarily have to be monetary, because you have cash transactions and non-cash transactions. Just engagement of information and contacts says, hey, you do this,
Yeah,
awesome.
great value in that. Listen, I could continue this conversation. We might have to do a part two. I just want to give you a heads up because there's so much more I wanted to ask. Listen, why do you believe an app like Blackbox is important?
Well, before I answer that, why did you do Black Box?
So I did Blackbox because as a recruiter, I really had the opportunity to touch base with Black men at all levels. I mean, recent college grads, entry level, senior, mid managers, whatever, all levels. And at each stage, there were people that felt like there wasn't enough information and there wasn't enough opportunities. And I had both, but I couldn't get it to people in mass or at scale. So I was like, if I can create something that I can pull together those resources and some of the connections and just share, then I think that would be a great place to start with supporting Black men. And that's really my mission in life, is to provide opportunities and support other Black men. So that's why I started the app.
So that's it. Each one teach one. That's what we met on. Like, that's what I got. That's what I understood. I was like, okay, there's those gaps, those little like fall throughs where a few words can make the difference between someone's life,
Sure.
right? And like, if we can be better in just allowing that understanding to be passed through properly, then we can allow, I should say, we're not giving anything, we're literally allowing for them to take that opportunity and run with it, right? But if they're missing information, like, that's that's where we fall short, right? If we gave them that's something very small, when we give them something to read, these are the things that we're looking for, that we're making sure we instill in their practice, that it was an email that was read, right? There's certain things in it like that we have touch points on. There's certain places where we know, okay, you clicked on, so if you didn't read that, we know you didn't read that, don't say you read that, right? if you didn't get that, we know you didn't get that. Don't say you got that, right? Because if you didn't get that, then it's going to hurt you moving forward, right? So let's move away from all of that not feeling right about saying, I don't understand, or hey, I'm missing something, and feel even more comfortable to be rewarded for pointing those questions out,
Yeah.
right? Because those are things that, and with an app can be done, now become just part of an FAQ. That's like anyone anywhere, right? Like that awesome. And in the part of technology, and this is where the fun part was, I think I mentioned it to you as well, that FAQ, every time someone comes and asks that question, right, you don't have to feel bad because it's a little box. This is how many people ask that
That's the
question.
question.
Like,
Yes. And I think, through some of the podcasts like this one, you get to share that people don't know everything initially. You have to learn and build, and you're not going to know everything, but it's all right to not know everything as long as you put yourself in a position where you can ask. And I think that's the thing. We're trying to put people in positions where they can ask people like yourself, people like myself, and all the other guests that have came across the Black Box App podcast questions about career. And that's really what we want to do at all levels. Look, I want to thank you for joining us today on the Black Box App podcast. I know my audience is thinking, how do we get in touch or stay just abreast of the things going on with Neville Rankine? Let the audience know how they can stay in touch with you and what you're doing.
So Ken having me on this is, let's say, more of exclusive because I stay behind the scenes. Like, I like it behind the scenes, right? Like, so because I get to go places, get things done. People see me like, oh, hey, do I know? No, no, you don't know me. You know?
We need you out waving the flag, man. We need people like you out waving the flag.
But if anything, Instagram, my team's very adamant on that. I get it directly. So at neverbeta_loans,
Okay.
NEVRBETA_LOANS.
I love it. Neville Rankine on the Black Box App podcast, man. I appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna keep abreast of everything you're doing because I think you're doing some great things, man. Thank you so very much for stopping by the Black Box App podcast. Listen,
Absolute pleasure, sir.
We air on Airy TV and Frontliners TV, so please check in on those platforms. This and all our interviews can be located in the Black Box App on the social wall and on YouTube.